out. Everybody.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lights Out. I'm your host, Josh.
And I'm your host, Austin.
And I'm the producer, Daniel.
And we're back with another one. This time we're headed across the pond over to the United Kingdom to dive into the most haunted hotels to ever exist. And some of these haunted hotels, I would argue, are probably the most haunted on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, just the sheer amount of history is kind of mind-blowing.
Centuries and centuries.
So much has happened over there. Have any of you stayed in a haunted hotel before?
When I was little, I can't even remember the name. It was somewhere in Michigan. They really hyped it up. And since I was a kid, I got really scared. Yeah. But I cannot remember where the hell it was.
Uh-huh.
Have you?
A haunted hotel? No, I have not. I've stayed in a castle before, but that's about it.
Just casually a castle? Where was the castle at?
It was in Ireland. I can't remember the name of the castle either, but I don't think it was haunted.
Well, I stayed at the infamous Stanley Hotel, which many people think is an extremely haunted location. I believe there's definitely some paranormal activity there. And I even stayed in the Stephen King room.
Right. You really tried.
Extra.
Yeah.
I tried with all my heart to experience. I opened myself up. I sat in a closet for 2 hours with pitch dark.
I've seen the footage.
Yeah, it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's just sad at the point because I was so determined. I'm like, they hype you up too, of course. Yeah. You read the little description for the room and it was like, Stephen King was in here when he wrote blah, 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 The Shining and blah, blah, and all this other stuff. And unfortunately, I didn't have anything happen. But I did do the ghost tours and stuff at the Stanley Hotel. It's up in Estes Park here in Colorado. But I believe it's a haunted location. I just think there's not a lot of evil history. You know what I mean? Like, sure. I feel like the more evil the location or more evil the history of the location, the higher chances of there being like physical manifestations that you can experience, right? Because at the Stanley Hotel on a ghost tour, I did witness like a door closing on its own. And I think I captured it on camera because I happened to be filming for some reason. But like, I want to see shit flying across the room. I want to see something. I want to see an apparition. I want to see a full-blown apparition.
And with Stephen King, I think there might have been some other factors at play.
Very true.
Probably adjusting his brain chemistry a bit so he was seeing
altered perception.
Yeah.
Totally.
So we never really know. That's funny that you brought up the Stephen King room because I had pulled this quote up while I was researching this. But I believe it's from Stephen King's On Writing, which I read years ago. It's kind of like a part autobiography, but then it's also like his tips on how to write a book, essentially. But he says this: hotel rooms are just naturally creepy places. I mean, how many people have slept in that bed before you? How many of them were sick? How many were losing their minds? How many were perhaps thinking about reading a few final verses from the Bible in the drawer of the nightstand beside them and then hanging themselves in the closet beside the TV? Typical Stephen King, just going to the darkest place.
The guy lives in a dark place.
Yeah, he does. But I thought that quote stood out because, I never really consider that when I'm going to hotels. How many people have slept here before me? How many were going through an awful time or something? You don't know the energies that pass through these rooms.
Right.
Countless, right?
And someone could have died.
Right, yeah. Who knows?
In that very room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I think we all choose not to think about.
Yeah, right.
We like to think that everything in the hotel room is brand new.
Yeah, and we're on vacation, so it's just good vibes. Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to worry about that.
Right.
I'll be all right.
Yeah.
But the hotels in the UK, I mean, and just the UK in general has such a vast history, especially paranormal history. And there's so many paranormal tours you can do all across the country, really.
Yeah. And some of these, they used to always be inns. Sometimes they weren't. Sometimes they were castles converted into hotels. But yeah, it's important to note that not all these buildings and properties were always hotels. I think that adds to the history of it.
Yeah, totally. So to kick things off, we're going to begin our journey in the Dalhousie Castle in Cockpit, Scotland. And this is just 8 miles south of Edinburgh. Hopefully I said that right. We're going to do our best, all right?
You got it.
We want to be accurate. So Edinburgh. But this 13th century castle was owned and occupied by Clan Ramsay, a lowland Scottish clan, for more than 800 years until they moved out by the 20th century. And it was later converted into a hotel in 1972. That's a very old building.
Yeah.
But several entities are known to haunt specific areas of this castle. Many are connected to its past when they were still living, and it's believed they once suffered drawn out, very agonizing fates. From a distance, a guest with no knowledge of the hauntings would think the castle is a great place to stay. I mean, who wouldn't want to stay in a castle, right? Its exterior is made of beautiful large red stones, and it features battlements, turrets, and long sash windows that offer gorgeous views of the surrounding woodlands. I mean, this thing is phenomenal. I mean, it blows me away, the architecture and the build quality, really.
Yeah, and I'm sure there have been some repairs
Sure.
and some maintenance over the years, but it's fascinating that we've kept these types of buildings in such great condition for so many years.
This castle was first constructed in 1140, and this was once the seat of the Earls of Dalhousie, the chieftains of Clan Ramsay. The oldest part that still stands was constructed in the 13th century, but most of it was built in the 15th century, including the infamous Drum Tower, which is known to be a paranormal hotspot. And at one point, the castle was only accessible by a good old drawbridge over a moat, which is so sick. I would put a moat on my own house if I could. But the moat is mostly gone. Only some of the impressions can still be seen. And like all the places we'll cover today, many famous people have passed through the castle's walls, including King Edward I in 1298, while he was on his way to fight Sir William Wallace. And many more famous fighters passed through the castle, especially during the countless sieges throughout the centuries. And at times of peace, many more famous faces could be found inside, including Mary, Queen of Scots, Sir Walter Scott, and Queen Victoria. Clan Ramsay moved from the castle in the 20th century but still owned the property, and they converted it into a boarding school in the 1950s and finally into a hotel in 1972 with 29 rooms. And all of the rooms contain period furniture, soft carpets, and antique rugs. Many rooms are themed to make guests feel like they're taking a step back in time. You guys like that? You like going to places where you feel like you're transported back in time?
Sure, yeah. I like that.
I'm kind of there. For a long time, I was like, modern, like wowed me. But now I feel like when I go into an old historical building or like an old hotel, I don't know. It's like a whole different experience.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of demands respect.
Yeah.
Like, this has been here for way longer than I have, so be respectful of
Totally.
the property, you know?
Yeah, and it just feels like everything is so much better built, just the quality materials. I mean,
Always.
you start, especially like once you own a home and you start realizing like how shitty your home is built.
Yeah.
And then you go to these old buildings and you're like, wow, there's like stone from floor to ceiling.
Yeah. This lumber is like the same oak tree.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
a solid beam of wood that's been here for hundreds of years.
And just the craftsmanship.
yeah.
It's so much more creative and there's so much more curves and just, it's stunning. It's beautiful. But although the decor is elegant, it also gives guests a haunting reminder of a time when many of the entities once lived. And despite the constant threat of ghosts, guests are often greeted with Scottish bagpipes. Love that. I love a good bagpipe. The castle also has been fitted with accommodations like a bar, a restaurant, and a hydrotherapy spa. And they can also try out falconry and archery on the grounds to make them forget about the spooky entities within the castle walls, at least for a little while.
When the castle was first converted into a hotel in the 70s, many first noticed the oddities of the castle. For example, some guests noticed things like secret staircases. Some of them led to several bedchambers and public rooms. But why? A moving bookcase also reveals a hidden bar, but what did it once hide? Many guests are fascinated by the dungeon area beneath the first floor, which is as old as the castle itself, and it is now a wine cellar and restaurant, but in centuries past, prisoners were once lowered into the stairless dungeon by a rope. No one could escape its dark, damp, 11-foot thick walls, and some were even left here to die. One of the most tragic stories of the castle involves a 16-year-old girl named Lady Catherine. She was apparently a mistress of one of Clan Ramsay's minor lords in the 1500s, and his wife soon found out about the affair, so she banished Lady Catherine to the Drum Tower, the large tower that gives the castle its iconic look. Catherine was kept here indefinitely with no release date, and her outlook became bleaker with each passing day. Seasons passed and then years, and she eventually stopped eating in protest, causing herself to slowly starve to death. As for the minor lord's punishment for the affair, there was none. In the years since her death, Lady Catherine's phantom can now be seen roaming the castle, and she's been nicknamed the Grey Lady. She's often seen near the Drum Tower, the stairs, the main corridor, and the dungeons below. Reportedly, she's one of the most active ghosts inside the castle. The castle steward once wrote that he had seen the apparition of Lady Catherine run up and down the main stairs. He wrote, "It appears she does not like the bagpipe music. When seen by me, the bagpipes fail to play a sweet tune. Sometimes her phantom is heard tapping on doors or guests' shoulders, but when they turn to look, no one's there. Other times, guests can hear the rustling of a dress as if someone is briskly passing by. She's even been seen sitting at the end of a guest's bed in the very middle of the night. Her smoky phantom is actually believed to appear in pictures of guests. Kind of hard to come by, but this is one of the more famous ones. It certainly looks like...
Yeah, that's...
I mean, if it's smoke, it doesn't really look like how smoke normally looks like, but you can kind of see the figure. The head kind of looks like a woman draped in a gown.
Yeah, like a dress or something almost.
Like kind of looking downwards.
But it's just a photo.
Yep, just a photo. Who knows? But here's actually a video of a skeptical reporter experiencing an odd sound in the castle's restaurant around 2 a.m. while looking for paranormal activity. If you remember, this restaurant used to be the castle's dungeon.
Maybe there is no such thing as ghosts whatsoever. Anyway, I'm prepared to wait. Catherine. Oh, Catherine. The chair next to me is about to start thumping on its own. You'll be able to clearly hear it. It's creeping me out now. Okay, I get it. I'm going. Okay, Catherine, I get it. Then something moves in the dungeon, but I'm not staying to find out what it is. I'm freaking going. I'd like to think I'm a pretty rational person, but and if you're interested to play back what's on that tape. The chair banging on its own with such purpose is what scared me. And an intense electric feeling down the right side of my face and head. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm shaking like a leaf. Anyway, she was probably just knocking on the chair to say hello and can you let me out of this castle? In the beginning, I'd assumed either nothing would happen here or I'd fall asleep on camera. Whatever my encounter was, it was one of the biggest frights of my life.
So if you watch that whole video, she starts it by saying like, I don't believe in ghosts and whatever.
I was going to say.
And then even with the clip, you can hear her saying, she's like, maybe there's no such thing as ghosts. And then that happens right after.
For being a skeptic, she seemed pretty scared.
Right, yeah. And she was down there alone, apparently. Because you can tell she's the one that picks up the camera. It's just her down there.
That was cool, actually.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
I think all three of us just want that experience.
I would love to encounter that.
Alone and have something.
That'd be so terrifying.
Go off like that.
Yeah. Another entity often seen in the castle is the phantom of Sir Alexander Ramsay. His rival, Sir William Douglas, captured him out of revenge back in 1342. They dragged him bleeding and in chains and imprisoned him in the dungeon of Hermitage Castle. Here, they left him to starve to death, and legend has it that Alexander survived for 17 days by eating small bits of wheat grain that fell through the cracks in the floor above him, but ultimately he died a slow and agonizing death. It is said that his skeletal remains weren't recovered until a century and a half later, when Hermitage Castle was finally being cleaned out, and he was then finally given a proper burial. Today, his phantom can be seen wandering the Dalhousie Castle. Guests have complained of a male ghost appearing out of nowhere and pulling their hair or banging on the doors. Despite the suffering these souls endured while living and possibly while dead, they're mostly harmless to the guests, and that makes this castle perfect for guests who are looking for a nice casual scare.
You know, these days, Austin and I got to really watch our health.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Getting old. We're in our 30s.
Yeah.
And they're going quickly.
Yep.
My back's hurting constantly. It's just like I feel like I'm already starting to break down.
Yeah, my back, my heart, my colon.
Yes.
Everything.
Everything hurts. So you got to get help, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but for the longest time, I just avoided the doctor because it was a hassle, really.
It is.
Is the main thing.
Yeah.
And I was moving around so much, changing insurance, that it was like, I have to go through the process of finding a new doctor. I already got comfortable. And now I got to have a stranger touch my nuts again.
Yep. Apparently, they don't really do the nut stuff anymore.
No. What?
Yeah.
All right.
I think you need to
reevaluate where I'm going.
My doctor, my new PCP, which was awesome, I found him through ZocDoc. His name is Dr. Mark Preischlack. 5 stars on that bad
Wow.
boy. Recommended 5 stars by 100% of his patients. But yeah, he went in and he told me, you know your own body best. So you are the best to examine it yourself in that region. That's what he explained to me.
That is, sounds very progressive.
Yeah. I already had my pants off, ready to go. I was like, I thought this was the deal, man.
That's why I came today.
Yeah.
Anyways, TMI probably for some of you out there. But ZocDoc, lovely, lovely service. I used them to find my oral surgeon when I got my wisdom teeth out. And it was the most flawless experience from start to finish. From booking the appointment, to the consultation, to the paperwork getting sent to me ahead of time to fill out. So I just rolled in. It was a smooth process. I had my insurance already. They had everything. And it was a wonderful experience because I got to read those reviews, which was great. If you're not familiar, it is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. It really is so simple, and they have basically every type of provider you can think of, even down to like an acupuncturist, psychiatrist, whatever type of help really you're looking for. ZocDoc can help you find somebody in your area who takes your insurance.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful service, and you can get appointments fast, sometimes in same day, sometimes 24 to 72 hours. It's really the easiest service out there. We recommend it. We use it all the time. I recommend it to all my family and friends as well. It's just the best. It really is. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/lightsout to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/lightsout.
ZocDoc.com/lightsout.
Well, moving on, we're going to check out the Schooner.
The Schooner.
The Schooner Hotel in Almouth. There have been over 3,000 paranormal experiences reported here.
Isn't that insane?
Wow. At the Schooner, baby.
Yeah.
It's often been named the most haunted hotel in Great Britain, believe it or not. And it was featured on the episode of the TV series Most Haunted. And from the outside, it's a very unassuming building. I mean, it's just this very plain white, looks like it's 3 stories.
Yeah. Just a brick building.
Yeah.
Really.
I wouldn't look at that and be like, that's the most haunted location
No.
in the country. But its dark history of death, massacres, and murders have given this hotel its infamous reputation, along with over 60 entities that are believed to wander its rooms and corridors. Built in the 1600s, the Schooner was once a coaching inn. At 8 Northumberland Street, it holds 32 individually designed rooms and 2 cozy bars inside. It's a 3-story whitewashed building with black shutters. Its clientele ranged from the most famous people around, including Charles Dickens, believe it or not, even King George III, to some of the worst, including smugglers, violent drifters, and even killers. Since the early 17th century, the hotel has been plagued by violent crime, murders, and suicides. At one point, smugglers reportedly used subterranean tunnels beneath the hotel to move illegal goods all the way to the coast. The tunnels have since been blocked off, but strange lights and apparitions have been reported in the hotel cellar. Recent visitors to the hotel have witnessed strange noises, dark shadows, and drastic temperature changes, and it's believed that many of the entities appear all over the hotel, including a soldier, an executed German spy, a coachman, and even the ghost of a chicken. That's kind of terrifying, honestly.
Chickens are mean, too.
Yeah. But one of the most terrifying entities in the building resides in room 20. Guests and hotel staff have witnessed a dark figure bolting out of the room and into the hallway. Then a loud banging can be heard on the fire escape door directly across the hall. In one instance, 2 staff members witnessed the dark figure turn toward them and begin crawling in their direction. There's not many things that would really truly scare me, but that would.
Yeah. And any bipedal creature that begins crawling is always scarier. Right?
Yes. Yeah. For some reason, when they're crawling, it's scarier.
Have you ever seen the movie The Visit? M. Night Shyamalan?
No, I haven't.
Dude, you see, this isn't really much of a spoiler, but the grandma starts crawling, and it's like, now it's scary.
When she gets down on all fours, it's a different level of horror. The staff members, when seeing this black figure crawling towards them, ran back downstairs. And when others were sent up to check the area, of course, the dark figure had vanished. But down the hall in room 28, visitors have suspected that this room is the center of the paranormal activity inside the schooner. Paranormal investigators often request to stay in this room to find, to do their investigation and see if there's anything interesting. But staff believe that room 28 is haunted by several different entities and is considered the most haunted area inside of the schooner. But one in particular stands out. It's believed that the room was once used as a living quarters for some of its staff. And as the story goes, a father who had worked at the hotel came home extremely drunk one night. And in a fit of rage, the man massacred his wife and children. Visitors have heard the disembodied screams and crying of young children inside the room. That would also be very terrifying. The first floor corridor is also known to be extremely haunted, though. Footsteps can be heard creaking down the hallway when no one is there. The figure of a maid from centuries past has also been reported on several occasions. And sometimes she's seen waiting for visitors in the stairwell. A murder was allegedly committed in the corridor, and some have even seen the outline of a soldier pacing up and down the hallway. This just sounds like a straight up haunted attraction.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I also don't know why, but something waiting for you in the stairwell is really creepy to me, because when I imagine stairwells, there's no windows or anything, and often not many people take the stairs. So it's kind of like an isolated corner of any given hotel.
Absolutely.
So that kind of freaks me out.
Figure waiting there for you.
Yeah. And like, who is waiting for anybody in the stairwell?
The stairwell. Only someone who's up to no good is what it is.
Exactly. But just down this corridor, rooms 16 and 17 have a concentration of paranormal activity. Visitors have noticed a hollow area in the wall between rooms 16 and 17 that is completely inaccessible. Many wonder why this space was permanently closed off and what it could possibly be hiding. In the 2 rooms on either side, figures have appeared at the foot of beds. Shadows have crossed through walls. Just outside these rooms, out in the corridor, the apparition of a young boy has been seen, and it's believed this entity is the one that knocks on all the doors up and down the corridor. Going up a floor in rooms 28, 29, and 30, disembodied knocks, bangs, and whispers have been heard. Many guests also report a feeling of dread, dizziness, and even sickness when staying inside. In 2008, a writer for the Northumberland Gazette and a paranormal team of investigators called Ghost Seekers UK visited the Schooner Hotel, and during their overnight vigil, they witnessed repeated appearances of an entity that looked like a 6-year-old girl. It was a cold, rainy Friday night, and the vigil started at 11 p.m. It lasted about 5 hours. So through the witching hour, the team crept around the creaking hotel hallways and pitch black bedrooms. Around 20 people attended, including 2 psychic mediums, Jane and Sean. Everyone split into teams and headed off in various directions around the hotel. Sean guided several others into room 16, 17, and later 28, which are known hotspots inside the hotel. At any given time, the rooms were often completely black, except for a few candles burning. In one room, he made contact with an entity that identified itself as a man named Jack. He apparently died of an illness inside the hotel, and another entity claimed to be the ghost of an 89-year-old man named Walter, who also died inside the hotel. But up in room 28, temperatures dropped to freezing, and many inside the room felt a sense of dread pass over them before they encountered a bad-tempered entity. The most terrifying moment was when an entity who revealed themselves to be 6-year-old Abigail was sensed by Sean inside the room. She told them she liked to mess around the hotel and scare guests with her tricks. She would pull up people's hair and clothes, or sometimes appear to guests and then vanish into thin air. Not long after they encountered her downstairs in room 7, Jane was actually using a spirit board to communicate with spirits. Jane was the other psychic medium there. She asked if there were any spirits present, and the planchette moved to yes. She asked if the entity could spell its name, and the planchette spelled out the letters. It's a bit misspelled, but this is what it was verbatim: Abaigail, or roughly Abigail. Jane then asked the spirit when it passed to the other side, and the planchette moved to the number 6, meaning 6 years old. Throughout the night, this entity was contacted in 2 different rooms on 2 different floors of the hotel by 2 different mediums at almost exactly the same time. Today, the hotel is still visited by paranormal enthusiasts looking for an interaction with the paranormal, and considering the sheer number of encounters reported, if you remember that was 3,000, there's a good chance any guest could witness something out of the ordinary.
Seems like there's other horrors going on here
Yeah,
than
right.
just the paranormal. I just pulled up its reviews, and
Oh, yeah.
oh my, it's
Rough.
not good. It's 2.6 out of 5 on Google, and on TripAdvisor it's even worse. The rooms are filthy. I mean, absolutely disgusting. The towels appear to be reused. Electrical cords are draped over the furniture, and the hotel's in significant disrepair. There was pubic hair on the sink.
Oh,
The staff was
nice.
no help at all. Awesome area. Avoid this dump. We were warned against going to this place so strongly by our taxi driver that we had to give it a look. We should have been put off by the cloud of flies buzzing around the entrance.
Oh,
Which
my
maybe
God,
that's
gross.
The paranormal energy.
Yeah. That would be the quickest way to write it off as the owner. You're just like, I don't know, it's haunted. It's not me,
Oh
it's the
my-
ghosts.
Or maybe by the vaguely medical smell lingering outside.
What is a medical smell
Oh my
like?
God,
Are
this
we
person's
talking like
brutal.
A bedpan?
Then this person goes on to say, or even the old man coughing and spluttering outside like it was a lung clinic. Oh my God. The hideous ambiance on the inside, like an 80s disco 5 minutes before closing. The bar is a glitter ball in karaoke style pop music. The floor is sticky with who knows what liquids.
Nice.
And they've used only the most basic, unappealing furnishings. Like the barbecue of the damned. Dude,
That
some
is
of these
good.
TripAdvisor reviews,
That is good.
they go hard. Such a shame for a building with such fantastic history. It's clear the management doesn't give a shit about its legacy or potential.
Damn.
Oh, there's even a sign hanging outside noting it's a haunted hotel.
There you go.
Most likely haunted by the poor customers who've been fooled into stopping here thanks to its history, doomed to moan and complain for eternity.
Nice.
So there you have it. The Schooner.
I love when reviewers get
Ah.
creative like that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The
So it seems like
Schooner.
you go for the paranormal spooks, but you don't stay.
You don't go for the service.
No.
Yeah.
You're not going for the ambiance
No.
and the bar for sure. Yeah, 2.6. 3-star hotel. Listed on Expedia as kid friendly. For sure. For sure. Austin and I love this sponsor, and we hope that they stay a sponsor forever because we truly love the product that they deliver. I mean, it is some of the best artisanal bread, pastas, pastries, and chocolate chip cookies. Can't say it enough. That you will ever have. And I'm not just saying that.
No, yeah, they're so good.
Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box that gives you options for artisanal bread, pastries, pastas, and so much more. They're customizable to your taste and dietary restrictions. And in addition to their classic variety box, they recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. And best of all, they take the hassle out of baking, because if you ever try to bake, it is a lot of work. It's a science.
It's chemistry, yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. And so all of their items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less with no mess or cleanup. And everybody be like, wow, good job baking, Josh. That was amazing. But wasn't me. Wild Grain.
You should start taking credit.
just take credit for Wild Grain. And Wild Grain is family owned and operated, small business. So you want to support these guys. They're really doing the Lord's work out here with the delicious carbohydrates. I mean,
so
it is
good.
Top-notch, clean ingredients. It's better than anything you'll find at the grocery store. You need to try it. So stop what you're doing. We've got a special offer for you. If you're ready to bring all of your favorite carbs right to your doorstep, be sure to check out Wild Grain so you can begin building your own box of artisanal breads, pastas, and pastries. And for a limited time, listen up. Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off their first box, plus free croissants, which are so delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Buttery croissants. They're just so soft. They tear apart. Steam clouds. Oh, it's just
nice
so
and
good.
flaky and then like soft on the inside.
Oh my God. Throw some Nutella on there or honey. Forget about it. You get free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/lightsout to start your subscription. That's right. You heard us. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/lightsout.
That's wildgrain.com/lightsout, or you can use promo code lightsout at checkout.
Well, moving on to the Mermaid Inn. This is maybe my favorite
this one's cool.
of the hotels that we'll cover today, but located in the historic medieval town of Rye in East Sussex. The Mermaid Inn has lasted over 600 years, and it's one of the oldest buildings in the region and also one of the most haunted places in Sussex. It's also very just cool and aesthetically pleasing on the outside too, compared to the others.
It's kind of like they kept that, how you would imagine it looked. Hundreds of
the
years
classic
ago.
look. Yeah. But countless entities have been witnessed inside the Mermaid Inn. Some are so terrifying that guests have refused to ever return. Just like the Schooner, it was also featured on an episode of Most Haunted. Established in the 12th century, the building has a long, dark history. Its cellars date back to 1156.
Crazy.
Like what? What was even going on in the world in 1156? That's a long time ago.
Medieval ages. People were getting the Black Plague.
Yeah. Although the current building dates from 1420, ever since the previous structure was burned to the ground by French pirates, it has also had additions made to it in the 16th century and even more recent renovations. But it sits just 2 miles inland from the southern coast and has become a tourist destination in recent years. Judith Blincoe has owned the place since 1993, and she's learned to live with the entities that call home there. She has spent many days alone inside, especially during renovations, but she's never felt threatened. She's felt like someone is always watching, but it never makes her feel uncomfortable. But the feeling isn't shared by many of the guests who stayed there. One morning, a couple who was staying in room 10 had woken up in the middle of the night and saw a figure walk through one wall and out the other. The couple left the room, slept on the couch in the lobby, and refused to go back to their room. Wow. So Judith had to retrieve their clothes and luggage for them. They literally didn't want to go back into the room after that. And here's a clip of Judith explaining some of the ghostly encounters that have occurred inside the inn.
We had a séance last year. There were 5 members of staff, all pretty sceptical, and we all literally sat around a round table and we looked over here, and the gentleman that was holding the séance said to us all, "My face will now change as I become the spirit of one of the long dead of this room." And all of us saw his face change. It sort of like grew on one side, and literally we all stood there. It was quite scary. And at one point in this corner, he said he was speaking to an actual spirit, and he told each one of us in turn to come over, and we put our arm through, and our arms actually disappeared into where his body, in theory, would be. And again, we all saw the same thing. I saw my arm disappear, they saw my arm disappear, and it was just really, really bizarre. A couple were asleep in the bed. Lady'd woken up, seen two people fighting, woke her husband up, so they both saw the same story. And they had a sword fight. One gentleman killed the other, and the body disappeared through the wall, which would have come through here and down. Also, last year, we had a gentleman who left his camera running on slow all night, and at 2:15, you actually see at this corner of the room, it goes very dark, and you see a strange light dart straight down to the floor, and you could hear metal on metal. And the same week, someone took 3 photos on their digital camera, and the middle one shows a figure. And again, on the digital camera, it shows the time, and that was 2:15 as well, in the same room.
Apparently that's a common thing. You see like knights in full armor fighting each other inside this hotel.
That's quite the attraction.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get a show.
I'm blown away at her arm disappearing.
Right?
What?
That people also witnessed?
Sticking your arm through the spirit and it disappearing? That's
Crazy.
That's nuts. And the dude's face changed?
Yeah, that's cool.
Man. She does a good job at selling that place.
It's probably why she's good at owning the place,
Yeah.
right?
Wow. Well, room 1 is reported to be extremely haunted, and guests have noticed their personal items and clothes moving across the room when they're not looking. That would be out of the corner of your eye, you just see like your suitcase start like rolling across the room. I'd be like, that'd be pretty wild.
Yeah, time to check out.
But this can often lead to arguments between couples. Kind of like, hey, why you keep moving my stuff? I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah.
You're always losing shit, right? And so you blame each other for losing stuff. But here, it's the spirits or the paranormal energy. Various mediums have visited the inn, and they claim that at least one of the entities infesting the inn is in fact a poltergeist. That's interesting. Many point to its vast history as an explanation, and the Mermaid Inn has a long history of being raided by the French. 1377 marked the worst raid when French burned the entire town down except for the church. Reportedly 16 people died. In recent years, one paranormal investigator caught a medieval-looking ghost inside the inn with his camera. And in the picture, it appears to be a Saxon soldier in full armor. And according to historians, there would have been a time period when Saxon soldiers would have occupied the town as well as the inn. So take a look at this picture.
Yeah, there's a photo of it. It's hard to say. I don't even know kind of like where the photo is being taken from. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, it's very blurry for those that are listening. But what you can clearly see is what I assume they'd be pointing out is the helmet, maybe?
Yeah, right.
And I can kind of see that for sure, but I don't see much else other than that. But still.
It looks like it might be like peeking around a corner
Yeah.
from a hallway or something like that.
But still an impressive photo. But in room 16, known as the Elizabethan bedchamber, guests often feel the temperature drop significantly before they witness 2 armored phantoms violently fighting each other with swords. Sometimes the phantoms crash into furniture before disappearing behind a secret passageway that no longer exists. The passageway leads into the bar below, where bar staff have seen bottles and glasses smash and fall off the bar on their own, almost like a body being slammed onto the bar, causing the glassware to fly off. That's hard to deny. Witnessing that, there's not a whole lot else that makes sense. Some guests have also heard death rattles followed by complete silence. But phantoms like this have been explained by the stone tape theory, which is basically where material can record historical events and then replay them. That's like that in a nutshell. But the idea that this place is so old that it's basically captured the energy from these events and it's able to like physically manifest itself over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like it just
through
replays.
like the materials of the building
Right.
itself. Yeah. That's the idea. Medium Charlotte Underwood believes that some of the spirits inside the inn haven't realized that they've passed on. Some are trapped, but others realize that they have died, but they actually just want to stay. Charlotte sensed entities who were once children from the Victorian times. One of the entities is a boy about 10 years old who goes around with a little ball and cup toy. Have you ever seen one of those?
Oh, yeah.
Flip it up into the cup. And he's just seen aimlessly wandering around the inn. Guests can only tell he doesn't belong because of his Victorian-era clothing. Over in room 15, 5 staff members, including the owner Judith, were once non-believers, and they thought the concept of spirits and ghosts was complete rubbish, as they said. But when they stayed in the room with the psychic medium who called upon the spirits, they witnessed the ghost of a little girl with a dog. All the staff members could see the figure of a large dog walking around, but when they went to pet it, it appeared like their hand disappeared into a figure made of smoke. Similar, kind of, to the entity where her arm was disappearing inside. But not all the entities at the inn are innocent children and dogs, and the area wasn't always this cute tourist destination. Much like the other hotels, the Mermaid Inn had its fair share of famous guests throughout the years, including Queen Elizabeth I, but it later had a notorious history with smugglers, especially one of the most infamous gangs of the time, the Hawkhurst Gang, and this was in the 1700s. They used the Mermaid Inn as a secondary stronghold for smuggling tea, getting wasted, and then committing violent crimes. The gang was known for drinking heavily to give them courage before attacking and murdering their enemies, which sometimes happened to be local authorities. These gang members were so despised by their community that when they were captured, the local government would often execute them and then hang their remains in town for public display. But inside the Mermaid Inn, no one dared confront the Hawkhurst Gang. They basically owned the place. They'd even rest their loaded weapons on the inn's tables as a threat and a sign that they were controlling that space and no one could screw with them. Those who got in their way were often brutally tortured and murdered, and stories even tell the gang crucifying their enemies to the front doors of their homes. When Hawkhurst gang members ever needed to escape the inn if they were in trouble, they would use the smuggling tunnels connected to the old cellar beneath the Old Bell Inn nearby. A few of their murders have been documented through the years, and they show how the gang really just dominated this region through terror. On one occasion, while the gang was drinking inside the Mermaid Inn, 20 of them strolled over to the Red Lion and just began firing off rounds into the air. A young man named James Marshall was so impressed with their, drunken freedom and violence. The drunk gang members saw how interested this young man was and took him away that night, and he was never seen again.
Luckily, the gang was defeated in 1747 and its last 2 leaders were executed by 1749. And it's believed that the spirits of many of these bootleggers and their victims still haunt the Mermaid Inn. Medium Charlotte Underwood once contacted a French female entity in room number 5 in the inn. She was heard crying and explained to Charlotte she was lost. The entity spoke French, but Charlotte said she could understand the woman in English thanks to a spirit board. The woman then explained she had lost a child just after giving birth inside room number 5. She had been held captive by the smugglers and wasn't allowed to leave, even when she had gone into labor. Her phantom is now witnessed wandering around room number 5, seemingly lost and looking for her child. A gang leader's wife is believed to haunt another room, and another one of the smuggler's girlfriends, who was once a maid at the inn in the 18th century, had been witnessed lurking around the inn. The maid was violently murdered by the gang for gossiping about their legal activities too much. Gang members then cut out her tongue before murdering her, and it's believed that she still haunts rooms 1 and 5, is unable to speak while looking for her lover. She's known as the Lady in White, and she's often seen with long hair and a large flowy dress. When she opens her mouth, blood comes pouring from where her tongue used to be. Charlotte Underwood and a group of 4 once held a seance down in the cellars where the gang was known for smuggling illegal goods. The seance was able to reveal an entity named John. Others who attended could hear the entity speaking in a low, rumbling voice, and in a frustrated voice, the entity was heard asking, quote, "Where are the barrels? Where are the barrels?" And they watched a figure of a man turning around, frantically looking for something, and it's believed he was looking for smuggled rum and tobacco. The entity then turned violent out of frustration and began yanking on people's clothing and grabbed a lady by wrapping its arms around her chest. The entity then began swearing at the group before vanishing into thin air. The seance ended immediately after that. But room 17 is believed to be occupied by one of the gang's leaders, Thomas Kingsmill, a British smuggler who was executed over 250 years ago. Charlotte and 2 other women once stayed inside this room overnight, and late that night while sitting in the dark, they witnessed the door being slammed on its own. They also witnessed phantom shadows moving around the hallway and a strong smell of cigars. Some have tried to capture the spirit of Thomas Kingsmill on camera, including an employee named Glenn Bailey. He had once witnessed objects move on their own in room 17, and he claimed to have captured orbs and shadows inside the room as well. Orbs and light figures have also been captured by a guest out in the hallway. And yeah, you can kind of see in here, definitely something fallen.
Yeah, in the very center of that hallway. Glenn's pictures, it's much harder to see. I think it's, if you look by the chair, kind of a larger glowing orb. But yeah, just really rough to see in general.
After Glenn documented the figure, it moved closer before his phone was knocked out of his hand. The entity then gave him a strong shove, and Glenn was later convinced this must have been the ghost of Kingsmill. The rocking chair where he had seen the entity is also known to be haunted. It often rocks back and forth on its own, even when moved to different areas within the inn.
One of the entities inside the Mermaid Inn is believed to be worse than the rest, and this is the ghost of John Breeds, the butcher of Rye, an infamous murderer from the 1700s. He's not called the Butcher of Rye because he was a murderer. He was literally the Butcher of Rye. The mayor of Rye, named James Lamb, accused John of using false weights to sell his meats for a higher price at his butcher shop. So John, who was angry over the accusation, tried to assassinate Mayor Lamb, but he accidentally ended up killing James's brother-in-law, Alan Grebel, who had been wearing the mayor's coat at night, so he had mistaken him for the mayor. Ambushing him in the churchyard, John stabbed the man countless times, penetrating both of his lungs in the process. Miraculously, Alan managed to stumble home to tell others what had happened, but his wounds appeared mortal. Meanwhile, during the attack, the mayor, who was at home that night, his late wife had visited him in a dream. She warned that her brother Alan was in grave danger. After stumbling out of bed, it was soon revealed to the mayor what had happened. His brother-in-law Alan was already dead. John Breeds was later tried and convicted of murder the same day, and he was caught boasting about the murder, thinking he had actually killed the mayor, James Lamb. Still not realizing he had killed a different man, John shouted, "Butchers kill lambs." During his trial, he shouted to Mayor Lamb, who was also the presiding judge, quote, "I did not mean to kill Grebel. It was you I meant it for, and I would murder you now if I could." But later in that same trial, he claimed he had gone mad and didn't even know he had killed someone at all. John was then held in the Ypres Tower, where the ring he was chained to can still be seen to this day. And on June 8th, 1743, the executioner collected John from his cell and took him to his place of execution, the marsh across from the Rye windmill. They also stopped for one last pint. He was then executed by hanging. The following day, his body was placed in the town gibbet, which is a metal cage, and he was displayed as a warning to the other criminals. After 16 years, the body and skeleton slowly decomposed. They left it there for 16 years, and it basically disappeared, and the gibbet was then removed. In 1946, the original gibbet and John's skull were put on display at a police exhibition in Church Street, Brighton. It's believed that the skull was the only thing left by the end after those 16 years of decay. And today, the gibbet and skull are possibly stored in the attic of the town hall in Rye. As for the victim, Alan Grebel, he was buried in the North Clare Chapel at Rye Church, where there is still a memorial stone for him. Today, the phantom of John Breeds can still be seen lurking around town, including the Mermaid Inn, and he's often seen ready to strike a fatal blow with an ethereal knife. Some have even felt a stabbing motion toward their chest when he's near. Many visitors to the Mermaid Inn believe the entities have gotten more violent in recent years. Even Judith, the owner, who isn't often afraid of the entities, admitted that a chunk of the ceiling recently fell and almost hit her about a year ago. After realizing this was possibly violent paranormal activity, she's become a bit more concerned. This was the first time anything threatening like that had happened to her in over 30 years. Many are often too scared to spend a night inside the Mermaid Inn, and others are still drawn to its rampant paranormal activity. Since nearly 850 years of history clearly have a lot to offer. And the scares here offer more than a casual fright for the thrill seekers, because some of the visitors are physically attacked by the paranormal energies inside.
But at least they got good food.
Yeah, I know the TripAdvisor.
People rave about the food there.
Yeah, TripAdvisor, it looks good, right?
Yeah, it's so we've got a 4.4 on average, 4.6 on Google.
3-star hotel.
3-star hotel. It does cost about $100 more than the Schooner Inn. So we're talking about $190 a night.
It's $90 to stay at the
$90
Schooner.
at the Schooner.
That's ridiculous. Come on.
But people love it. I mean, overall, it looks like it's the nicest place in Rye.
And they got a continental breakfast.
Yeah. Seems like
windsurfing. What?
Looks like it's a very favorable spot for couples and anniversaries. You can be joined in bed by a lovely spectral visitor if you would like.
Yeah.
It was, I'd like to go through reviews of these haunted places and just see if anybody in the Google reviews has had any paranormal encounters. And I went through quite a few and nobody saw anything.
Nothing?
Nobody had it. Everybody's like, I even came here for the ghostly. But sometimes, again, I think the paranormal works in mysterious ways. I don't think if you seek it out,
it's kind of like your experience, right? At the Stanley. Yeah.
I really think that you just got to be there long enough and not expect it and something happens.
Right.
Although our skeptic in the cellar of the first place,
she heard something and saw something down there.
Maybe he was just pissed off that she was being so just defiling
smug.
It. Yeah, so smug about it.
But some of the rooms inside the Mermaid Inn look awesome. They have like all the bed frames are crazy. All this decorative wood. Yeah, the ceilings look cool.
That red carpet is just glorious.
Yeah. I would stay here for sure.
Yeah, this is cool. Very cool.
Oh, I love all the small walkable streets around it too.
Yeah, you can get around to everything. Yeah, it's just so different than how it is here. You don't have to like drive.
Yeah.
Really, in a lot of these towns.
Ugly parking structure.
Yeah. There's no electric scooters tossed on the ground.
Yeah, right. Now they have made that area look like how it's looked for a long time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I need to go back to the UK. I only saw London. I need to visit all these other little quaint towns because it just seems like more my vibe.
Yeah, they got the cobblestone streets and everything.
Yeah, without all the hustle and bustle of like a big city.
Yeah,
looks very, very cool. And go for the paranormal sites as well.
Oh yeah.
Which leads us to London's most haunted hotel, the Langham, which was the largest and most modern hotel when it was built. Construction was completed in 1865 when the booming city desperately needed luxury accommodations for its visitors coming in from all over the world. It was known as Europe's Grand Hotel, and it was such a big deal, the Prince of Wales performed the opening ceremony on June 10th of that year. So it was, establishing it as a national landmark, right?
Yeah.
A worldwide destination. It featured 380 rooms and was a one-of-a-kind hotel for a few different reasons, because it used electric lights.
Whoa.
Hydraulic lifts.
No way.
Air conditioning.
Thank God.
And one of the most extraordinary innovations that revolutionized the luxury hotel experience, flushable toilets.
Yes.
No more outhouses, baby.
You never really think about that though, but
there was a day when we were
just pooping
going
in
out the back door.
Yeah, we dug a hole. Not anymore, man.
Off a log.
Yeah.
That must have been really revolutionary.
Yeah.
You could flush it, goes away.
I know when
when
they first started introducing toilets or like bathrooms indoors where you go do your business, People thought it was reprehensible. Like, are you kidding? I'm not gonna
In your house?
Yeah, that's
what?
That's a disgusting.
Go out back like the dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now we've come so far where it's the opposite. No one wants to do their business outside.
No.
It's like, no, I need a
Most
nice
people
indoor
won't go
bathroom.
camping for that very reason.
Exactly.
I do not want to shit outside.
Right.
I'm not an animal.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
So I
guess.
bring a toilet or I bring a house on wheels to poop in.
Yeah.
You know? So this was revolutionary for the time, and it soon became one of the most popular hotels in Europe, and it was even used as a setting in several Sherlock Holmes stories. Love Sherlock Holmes. Royalty, tycoons, politicians, artists, and even musicians from around the world came to stay at the famous Langham Hotel. A few of its guests include Oscar Wilde, Mark Twain, Napoleon III, and Princess Diana. Charles Dickens famously said it was the most expensive hotel meal in London.
I love
of
that.
course. And while it's still known for its luxury today, many paranormal investigators and YouTubers out there like Sam and Colby, shout out, stay in the hotel hoping to experience some paranormal activity. During World War II, it was used as a post and first aid station until the West Wing was destroyed in air attacks. In the 50s, the BBC purchased the building and leased out a portion of it for office space. And in the 60s, they also used the area for broadcasting and housing employees and guests. It was also around this time that many of its visitors began noticing strange happenings around the property. Many sightings occurred on the third floor where some of the BBC staff lived, and many would take their stories to the air, which gave Langham Hotel its reputation. But even after the broadcasters moved out of the building, several entities have been witnessed over the decades. And this is another just fabulous piece of architecture.
I know, doesn't that look so awesome?
Like, that's the architecture that makes me think of London and the UK.
Yeah.
That style. It's just so grand. Everywhere there's detail.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing plain about this.
No.
One of the most common sightings is the entity that looks like a soldier. And it's believed that the man had met his fate at the hotel, and he's been reliving his death ever since. Some believe he was a German prince, as seen by his particular military jacket, and he may have even taken his life during the outbreak of World War I. BBC announcer Ray Moore once described the entity as beefy, with cropped hair, sporting a military-style jacket that buttoned up to his neck. And many have seen this phantom walking around the halls, but his destination's always the same. He always heads for one of the windows on the 4th floor before leaping out, reenacting his suicide over and over again. Visitors to Langham have seen him falling from the same window, sometimes more than once in a single day. Many guests can feel his presence before even seeing him. Staff at the BBC have confirmed seeing this ghost as early as 1971, and one man spotted him just beyond the window. Another encountered the ghost while shaving. This guy's very active.
Yeah. Another phantom is a woman reputedly seen in the Langham after 1974 wearing a bluish gown, probably a nightdress. Apparitions of an old-timey butler described as bewhiskered and carrying a tray has often been seen, especially on the 4th floor. It's believed the phantom originated in the 19th century, and his presence often enters in the form of a freezing cold draft. Another common entity is the ghost of Napoleon III. He first visited the hotel in 1871 after being dethroned and exiled from France. His ghost is often witnessed near the basement and sometimes up in the infamous room 333. Things get much weirder up in room 333, or 333, or 333. It's known to be the epicenter of paranormal activity inside the hotel, and many have pointed out that 333 is half of
666,
the number of the beast, and 3:33 a.m. would be during the witching hour. Guests have witnessed the phantom of a man with a gaping wound on his face, and others have been tipped out of bed or have had their entire bed shaken in the middle of the night. According to legend, the scariest entity is the ghost of a doctor with gray hair, often seen inside room 333. He had once visited the hotel with his new wife right after their wedding, and they booked room 333. For reasons unknown, sometime before checkout, the doctor ended up going mad inside of the room, and he brutally killed his new wife before then killing himself as well. His phantom now manifests as a gray-haired man wearing a cloak and a cravat. He has a blank. Do you know what a cravat is?
No, what's a
Yeah, it's
cravat?
kind of like, it's almost like an ascot, but it's like a big scarf thing that you kind of tie around your neck. It's very old school. Nobody wears them anymore. But if you watch like old UK
you see
movies,
them
you'll see them
wearing
all the
it.
time.
And a cloak.
Yeah, yeah. So this phantom, reportedly, he has a very blank stare, kind of like he's dead in the eyes. And he was spotted in 1973 by BBC announcer James Alexander Gordon. And here's an old interview of James explaining his sighting.
James Alexander Gordon, announcer to the gentry on Radio 2. Jim, how kind of you to ask me into your room.
It's a pleasure, Terry. I mean, I don't think you've ever been in one before, have
I
you?
haven't. Is this your own bedroom? I mean, is your
Once a
name on
week,
the
this
door?
is my bedroom. No, my name's not on the door. This is room 333.
Now, Jim, something rather sinister occurred in this very room. Can you tell me what actually happened? You were asleep, weren't you?
I woke up and I saw a ball of light, which I thought was the moonlight coming in through the curtains, just above the sink there.
Oh, you hadn't had anything to drink, right?
Oh, no, because that's
But your first night on the radio.
That's right.
Yeah.
My golden rule as well, I never drink on duty.
Yeah.
And it started to get larger. Then it became probably about 4 foot high and started to take the shape of a human form and very fluorescent. And he had a cape on, a long cape. It's probably something like these Victorian evening wear, the one you used to see in the films particularly, and a cravat. And what I always remember most clearly was the pin in the cravat.
And what about his features? Did he have features?
Yes, very sallow features. And as he turned round, his hands came out like this, thus, and proceeded to float towards the bed.
Float towards you.
Towards me.
Slowly.
Yes, very, very slowly, just gliding. And as he came forward, his hands came out, and I looked up, and the eyes were sunken, but very, very staring and glowing as well. And at that point, foolishly perhaps, I said, "Who are you? What do you want?" And then grabbed my boot, which was here. And I said, "Go to hell," you see, and I flung the boot, which rattled off the sink, into the sink.
Went straight through.
I then grabbed my underpants, dashed out the door, down to reception, and said to the commissioner, "I've just had a dreadful experience in room 333. And he said, "There is no way I'm going up there."
James said his sighting was the only truly frightening experience of his life. Just saying something. Those who have encountered this entity are often overcome with an overwhelming sense of dread. Some have heard the crash of a violent struggle inside room 333, possibly an afterimage of the man attacking his wife. Some have even seen the reenactment of the attack in the final moments before the deaths of the newlyweds. The entity of the doctor can still be witnessed to this day and is most often seen in the month of October. One of the most recent encounters with the paranormal at Langham involved English cricket player Stuart Broad in 2014. It was such a terrifying encounter that Stuart had to request a room change while staying in the hotel for several test matches. He had been doing fine during the test matches with India, but during the Sri Lanka test matches, he woke up in the middle of the night around 1:30 a.m. and it was so hot in the room that he was struggling to sleep, and that's when he heard the light tapping coming from the bathroom. He also felt a presence in the room. He turned on the light and the tapping seemed to stop, but when he turned the lights off again, the tapping began again. Both he and his girlfriend, Beely, were completely freaked out, so they requested to change rooms. It turned out one of the other cricket players' girlfriends had refused to stay inside the hotel altogether, knowing it was extremely haunted. On another night, Stuart woke up and felt a presence again inside his room. He was alone since his girlfriend was not staying with him that night. He then turned on the lights and checked online, where he saw another cricket player, Matt Pryor, was also online. He then went over to Matt's room where he found him wide awake, and Matt confirmed he had the exact same feeling of a presence inside of his room. He decided to stay in Matt's room for the night since he had a spare bed to share. Over the next few days, several more cricket players struggled with sleepless nights. Despite the anomalies and night terrors from many visitors, Langham Hotel continues to operate as a 5-star luxury retreat. The staff often try to stay discreet about its haunted history, but many of the guests already know what they're getting into. And while many guests ask to avoid booking room 333, some specifically request it, hoping to get a glimpse of one of the paranormal entities inside. And this thing has been renovated, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Many times over.
Yeah, some millions of dollars worth of renovations inside.
It's beautiful, stunning hotel. The rooms look the most modern out of all of the hotels that we talked about today.
Yeah.
It's 5 stars, so like right now to book a room here in August, $800 a night.
Steep.
Very steep. But yeah, stunning. But also completely terrifying. Would you pay $800 to potentially be terrified all night to the point you can't sleep?
Would you request room 333?
I would.
Yeah, same.
I would. Any hotel I go to that's got a haunted room, I'm going to book it.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? But I'm just not going to go in there like full blown ready to investigate paranormal activity. I'm going to go in there.
If it happens, it happens. But
if not, if I sleep like a baby,
I'm on vacation. I'm glad I got some good sleep.
At least I said I stayed in the haunted room.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of us that are like, yeah, definitely believe all this. Definitely believe there's all this haunted paranormal activity going on. But I think some of us are a little bit more skeptical, like maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And there's a few of us that are like, but this is all baloney, right? But I think just based on the history and obviously the historical events, I think, as we always say, if there's going to be a place that's going to have some type of paranormal activity, it's going to be a very old place with a dark history to it. And I think all of these hotels have that to some extent. And I wish we knew more about how the paranormal worked, because I wonder if there's more to it. And obviously the people theorize all the time, but like if we had like concrete proof of who is most susceptible to seeing and experiencing the paranormal, is there a certain thing about you? Is it your frequency? Is it your mind state? Like what is it about you? Because obviously paranormal investigators go in there and they have all these gadgets and tools and gear and things like that. And sometimes they're able to capture things, but a lot of times they're not able to capture anything in some of the most haunted locations. So it's like, I think it's just one of the universe's greatest mysteries of like, what's on the other side?
Yeah.
Is there this like in between, this limbo? Or is it the stone tape theory? Is it energy that's imprinted into these materials or locations that's just replaying over and over like a tape? I think that's what makes it so interesting and intriguing to all of us, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
the unknown.
Yeah, the unknown. It's the mystery. That's why we love it so much.
But of course, we want to know if any of you out there have stayed at any of these hotels. Maybe you've stayed at the Schooner and you're like, guys, you guys are ripping the Schooner. The Schooner is the best. All right.
Schooner gives vibes where you can smoke cigarettes inside.
And they don't, there's no signs. They don't care.
Yeah.
There's no fine at the end of the day. Oh, I didn't let's look up the Dalhousie Castle real quick. I didn't look up the reviews for that. Oh, yeah,
true.
Let's see. Oh, okay. 4-star hotel, 4.3 on Google.
Nice.
So really, the Schooner takes home the worst rated hotel of the bunch today.
The true horror.
I mean, who's going to go into a castle and give it a bad review?
That's true. Also, it looks really nice in there. I can't say the same for the Schooner. Some of those bedrooms look like they were like 6 feet up by 12 feet. Like you're in a dormitory.
Yeah, seriously. There's a few bad ones in here. But it's not to do with the building. It has to do with like service and things like that.
Sure.
So all of the hotels today had a 4-star rating and above, except for the Schooner.
Sorry, Schooner.
So maybe if you stayed at the Schooner, let us know what your experience was, because Austin and I are considering on visiting one day if we ever get out there, just for the hell of it. Or if you've stayed at any of these other hotels, let us know. And if you had any paranormal experiences there, or it's just it's all overhyped, right? Overhyped and underdelivers.
I do think 3,000.
That's where I'd go.
That's yeah. I think that was the Schooner too. So it looks like we're going there. It's the economy haunted trip. We're on a budget. 900.
Hey, I bet if we did a haunted hotels here in the United States, it'd be a lot of schooners. Let's be honest. It'd be like bad hotels and bad places. You know, of course there's the Stanley, like we said, but I think the Stanley is definitely like overblown on like the amount of paranormal activity that's still going on there. I don't think it's like a huge hotspot anymore.
True.
But yeah, always fun to dive into the paranormal, of course. But yeah, let us know if there's other hotels that we missed that we should cover in a future episode, or where should we go next? What country should we go to next? Who's got the most haunted locations? Drop that in the comments below. But that is going to be it for us today. As always, we enjoyed hanging out with you. And before I forget, my God, I meant to mention this at the beginning, but Lights Out merch is 50% off right now. 50% off. It will never be that cheap again. It's because we're moving. We're moving our distribution for merch. And so it's on sale at a price you'll never see again. So go take advantage. There's still tons of stuff out there. And you can find that at milehighermerch.com. You'll find the Lights Out merch there, as well as the merch for the other shows. But yeah, thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, drop us a like, comment, subscribe, follow, wherever you're listening or watching. We appreciate it. But we'll see you guys next week. Till then, lights out, everybody.